What's up, everybody? This is Domingo Hill, Necro of the Iceberg, and today's video I'm going to be doing, guys, I'm going to be doing another gaming news. And in this gaming news, I'm going to be talking about Sony and a lot of stuff's been going on there. So there's a few things I'm going to talk about. So in this gaming news, I'm going to talk about Sony's PlayStation terms of service that's going on in Europe. I'm also going to be talking about the thing I was supposed to talk about in the last gaming news, and we will talk about it here. But before we talk about the Sony with PlayStation, I'm going to be talking about Microsoft with Xbox. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about right now. So here we go. So the first thing I want to talk about Microsoft and Xbox is there was a report that Xbox could introduce a disc to digital game conversation system. So I got this article right here. This is from July 10. So this is from last week. I know I'm a week late with this one, but I really want to talk about this. So I think it's going to be happening later. I think later this week, I believe. So, and if there's any more information about, what's going on with Microsoft and this whole disc to digital games, I'll talk about that in another gaming news time. But let's talk about this right now. So I got this little article right here. This is from MP First, and it says report Xbox could introduce a disc to digital game conversation system next week, which is, I believe, this week. By the time I'm recording this video, because I know I'm late with this one. So here's the report here from Microsoft. It says this week. So this week, users in the Xbox Inside program did not revive the usual updates for the Xbox Series X/S consoles. The delay came as a surprise, especially since Asha Sharma says some time ago that new consoles update will be released every 2 weeks. Brad Rosen, head of Xbox Insider, suggests that the delay is because of the next update will be worth the wait, which, while he did not reveal what it includes, Jess Corridon believes that he already knows the answer. The feature is called Project Positron. If I pronounce the name wrong, it spells Positron. I think it's Positron. I don't know. Anyway, it is Microsoft's planned system to make the move from physical games to digital games much easier for players. It also comes at a time when PlayStation plans to stop supporting disc-based games starting in January 2028. Xbox could add Project Positron in next week's Insider update, which is this week, by the way, coming up. Rosafri's social media post created a lot of discussions, but Carnick responds with a simple message. Positron comic based on, for what it known so far, Positron is a system that contains physical Xbox game into digital licensing. It is expected to arrive as Microsoft's solution for the future where physical discs becomes less common. If the reports are correct, Positron will let players insert support Xbox One disc as well as Xbox Series X disc to receive a digital licenses permanently linked to their Microsoft account. Okay. While it is not the same as we keep a physical disc forever, it is offering two important benefits. Players could still lend physical games to friends, and the second-hand market can continue to exist. The system works by linking the digital licensing to the account that activates the disc. If the account changes, the game can no longer be accessed through the procedural account. However, the digital licensing can transfer from the disc to another person's Microsoft account when the game is sold. Nonetheless, nothing has been officially confirmed yet, but everything points to the Project Positron arriving on Xbox sooner than expected. As more information becomes available, we'll make sure to let you guys know here on the MP-verse and others. So there you go. In other news, Microsoft is already testing another Xbox system update through the Insider position. The update includes expansion characters, game attacks, and Xbox 360 achievement and all that stuff. All right, so there are some rumors that there's also rumors about the Xbox Project Helix might have a disc drive as well. So here's my thoughts on this one. These are now, before I just want to let everybody know these are just rumors at this time. Microsoft has not confirmed anything about this yet. So I guess we'll find out probably later this week coming up. But like I said, if there's any more info on this one, I will talk about this in another different gaming news video. So here's my thoughts about this. If this is true, that we might get a disc drive in these project Presentitron, and also rumors about the project Highlands. If there's ever going to be a disc drive on those consoles, then there's a chance that physical discs, we can actually play physical discs. But according to this report, this article right here, it does say that it's going to be like less physical games become less common. So basically, like there might be a disc drive, and then maybe we could play some physical games there. But then it's going to be probably more digital than physical, though. So that's basically what's been going on in this article. But if this is true, so there's a possibility that maybe, just maybe, there's a chance that physical media could be alive for Xbox. So only time will tell. The question is, can this work out? I guess we'll find out soon. Once Microsoft give us more details about this project Presentitron, or whatever it's called, whatever it is, I guess we'll find out. So there's a chance that it could support Xbox One disc as well as Xbox Series X disc. So I think this might work out. So maybe there's a chance, maybe, just maybe, physical games might happen on Xbox. Maybe in the Project Highlands, and maybe somewhere with this Presentitron as well. So let's see how this goes. If Xbox, Microsoft could support physical games on their future Xbox consoles. But let's see how this goes. So we'll see how this goes. So maybe this could work out, maybe not. Who knows? I guess we're just gonna wait. I don't want to jump to conclusions because, like I said, these are just rumors. But I guess we'll find out soon enough when we hear from what Microsoft and Xbox got to say about this. So we'll see how this goes, and I'll talk about this in more details in another gaming news video. All right, so then now, since we're done with Microsoft with Xbox, let's talk about more about Sony and PlayStation, because, oh boy, everybody's talking about Sony and PlayStation over the past few weeks, because ever since they announced they're ending their physical games in 2028, in January 2028, everybody's been talking about this. There's been a lot of gaming news about what's going on. I remember when this first started, Sony went viral. It was all over social media. It was trending at the time. Not to mention, it was all over the news. People from like retro gaming stores been talking about this as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So yeah. So here's another thing I want to talk about, and that is Sony facing a $1 billion lawsuit over alleged PlayStation Store monopoly. I was supposed to be originally talked about this last week, but I totally forgot about this, and I didn't have much time because the video was too long. So I'm going to talk about this here in this gaming news. So here it is. It says Sony is facing legal challenges in multiple countries over allegations that the PlayStation Store operates an illegal monopoly, with lawsuits accuse the company of restricting competitively and inflating digital games pricing for millions of players. The largest case is currently underway in the United Kingdom, where the class action lawsuit representing around 12 million consumers is seeking approximately a 1.97 billion euros, which translates to 2.7 billion US dollars in damages. So in Europe, this is actually called the 1.97 billion, but if you translate that to the US version, it is basically $2.7 billion in Europe. So in the damage. So the claim argues that Sony requires for digital PlayStation games, downloadable content, and in-game purchases to be sold exclusively through the PlayStation Store, has eliminated price competitivity in, leaving consumers to pay more than they were in the competitive marketplace. The claim argues that the Sony requirement for digital PlayStation games, downloadable content, and in-game purchases to be sold exclusively through the PlayStation Store has eliminated price competitively, leaving consumers to pay more than it will be in the competitive marketplace. Like I mentioned, Sony has rejected those allegations, maintaining that its price, reflecting superficial statements in the PlayStation ecosystem, while also pointing in the competitively from other gaming platforms, including Xbox and Nintendo. Legal purchase is also increasing in the Netherlands, where a consumer foundation representing roughly 1.7 million players has successfully advanced in cases through the courts. The lawsuit alleged that Sony's standard 30% commission often referenced by the critics as the Sony tax has concluded to digital PlayStation games costing settlements significantly more than physical counterparts. If successful, the case could require Sony to allow third-party retailers to sell digital PlayStation games while also paying more than 400 million euros in compensation. Meanwhile, Sony has already agreed to resolve a separate consumer case in California throughout a preliminary of a $7.8 million settlement throughout this, despite was considerably smaller in the schools of an ongoing European intensity. So there you go. It says while none of the larger lawsuit has reached the final judgment, their outcome could have far-reaching considered for Sony's digital business model and potentially reshape how digital games are sold on PlayStation platform in the years ahead. All right, so my thoughts about this. I think if this is true, that Sony is doing this whole monopoly on the PlayStation Store, that's actually fucked up. Let's be honest here. This is fucked up. This is basically a corporate greed. That's what this lawsuit is about. And we know the lawsuit is probably going on right now in Europe and I think the US and maybe some other regions as well. But the fact that Sony is doing this and they're doing this like in an illegal way and, getting people to, the whole Sony taxes and trying to get more money in Europe and in the United States and maybe some other regions, that's actually fucked up because, like I said, this is basically corporate greed that Sony is doing. This is basically like a middle finger to the consumers. Like, oh, you want these stuff? You want these stuff digitally? You want DLC stuff? Well, you're going to pay more with the tax and all that. That's fucked up, Let's just be honest here. That is absolutely fucked up too, It's fucked up that Sony did that scene because, they're corporate greed. Because the thing is, though, guys, Sony is desperate. And it's not just Sony, even Microsoft and Nintendo as well. They're just desperate to make money, They're trying to do whatever they have to do to get money for themselves, to be relevant, and all that stuff. That's what they're trying to do. It's corporate greed. And I hate using the word corporate greed, but this is true. This is corporate greed. And as far as this lawsuit that's going on in Europe, I hope Sony loses. I hope the people that actually in Europe are suing Sony for this, I hope they win. Beat Sony in this lawsuit so that way Sony could pay for the damages and hopefully they learn their lesson about what happens when you do a monopoly on digital games. You see, that's one of the issues that's going on with digital media. Corporate greed. Trying to do like the whole tax and asking people to waste more money on digital stuff, like whether it's digital games or downloadable content, the add-ons and stuff. It's fucked up. It's absolutely fucked up. And I hope Sony loses that lawsuit. So yeah, that's my opinion about that. Now, there is one more thing I want to talk about before we end this, and that is something I know this already happened last week, and I'm going to talk about this week, and that is the PlayStation Update Terms of Service. So we're going to talk about this right now, but do keep in mind, I want to let this know that this little law, that this PlayStation Update Terms, this is only affecting Europe. It's not affecting the US or any other countries, which I'll talk about that. But let me read this to you right now. And for those of you who does not, I think you guys probably know about this by now, but for those of you who don't know, let me read this article. It says here, PlayStation Update Terms of Service, inactive PlayStation network accounts may be closed. So 21, closing your account. It says 21.1, you may close your account by contacting us using the details at Section 28. So this law is called Section 28. So this is what the terms of service going on only in Europe. It says here the 21.2, if you have not used your account for at least 36 months. Now 36 months is basically 3 years. If you have not used your account for 36 months, 3 years, we may take steps to close it. In that case, we will contact you via email address registered to your account and give you 6 months to either log into your account or contact us and tell us to keep your account open. After your account is closed, you will not be able to access the PlayStation Online service or use the digital process purchased with that account. Account closure is reasonable. Account activity for 36 months may be closed. Don't lose access for your digital games account. So it's basically, once again, like I said in the last gaming news, basically Sony's saying you own nothing. That's what's going on here. So, and of course, I did find this article on, online, in reports. I know everybody on IG, Instagram is talking about this as well. There is one person in the comments of that on the article on IG. This person did tell everybody in the comments, because he did his research. He said that it's a European law for every digital account. It's under the Data Protection Act. Netflix, Xbox, Disney, Hulu, Amazon, and etc. have followed the same laws. It's crazy how little people know about how laws work in their country. So yeah. So basically this person is saying that this law is only affecting Europe. So I want to let everybody know this is not affecting the US or Canada or any other region in this country. This is only affecting Europe only. This is only affecting the European. And the reason why this is happening is because of the whole law that's been going on, the whole Data Protection Act that's going on in Europe. Now I know the Europe law is different from North America and other regions as well. So I know a lot of people in the U.S. and maybe some other are actually worried about this, and I can understand that as well. Even though we don't have this law in this country, let's hope that's not the case, because we don't want this law in the U.S. or any other country for that matter. But even if this is only in Europe, it still sucks, because like, how are they gonna make a law? And this is not just only on PlayStation. This is also happening on Xbox. I heard that Xbox got this law already, but the difference is they have the account where if you don't log into your account for 2 years, then they have a chance to shut it down. PlayStation only has 3 years, so they got an extra year longer than that. So that means that this law, and it's not just that, but also is affecting Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon as well. So if you don't log into your accounts in those like 2 years or 3 years, and I think this is also happening on a couple of video games as well. I think it was Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft might have that law as well. And I think it's Ubisoft and Naughty Dog in Europe might have that log as well. I think it was either Ubisoft and Naughty. I don't remember. I gotta look that up. But yeah, I think they also have that law as well, where if you don't log into your account and stuff in the next few years, there's a chance they're gonna shut that account down, and then you will lose access to the account and stuff, and then it's gonna be deleted and stuff. So that's exactly what's going on, and the fact that this is happening with PlayStation. So because remember, PlayStation did up this account in Europe in last April of this year. So this happened about a couple months ago. So this is not new. This is happening for a few months now in Europe. So the thing is though, yes, I think Sony needs to be blamed for this, but however, the European law, the whole Data Protection Act, they also need to be blamed as well. Sony should, as far as this whole situation about, if you don't sign into your account after 3 years, you're going to lose everything. Sony should not be the only one to be blamed for this. Yes, they do need to be blamed for this because they're actually listening to this law. They're doing what the European law has told them to do, and they've been being forced to do this. It's not really Sony's idea. This is the idea from the European Data Protection Act, which is fucking ridiculous, to be honest. But yeah, the Europeans, the governor, and also the people working for the Data Protection Act, they also need to be blamed as well for doing something like this, okay? This is happening, like I said, with Sony and Xbox and other digital media sites as well that I mentioned. I feel like this is absolutely ridiculous, because what will happen if the person has that account, and let's say if they, God forbid, pass away, and someone else wants to use it and stuff like that, and then if they don't use that account in the next 3 years, after that 3 years, that account they're gonna take it down and then delete it, and then all the stuff that they purchased and stuff is gonna be gone, and they don't own nothing. I think this is a fucked up law. Hopefully this is not happening in North America, like US, Canada, or even other countries in other regions as well. But it still sucks. Yeah, I know this is only in law, because if you check the PlayStation website in Europe, the European version of it, the law is there. But if you check the North American version of PlayStation, like in US or Canada, that law is not there. So like I said before, this is only affecting Europe. This is not affecting US or any other regions for that matter. So let's hope that law doesn't come in the US or any other country for that matter, because this law, I feel like this is ridiculous. I think this is so stupid, and this law should have never exist in my opinion. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the gaming news, guys. Like I said, there's I'm trying to do the best I can to do more of these gaming news. I know there's like a lot of them going on, but stay tuned. I'm going to be doing more gaming news in the future, and I will talk about this. I'll talk about more about what's going on with Sony, with PlayStation, also with Microsoft, with Xbox, and I'll also talk about Nintendo in the future as well. I think the next gaming news I'm going to be talking about, I will talk about Nintendo because there's something I need to talk about there, but I'm going to save that for another gaming news video. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. So don't forget to like the video, share, subscribe, and post your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this gaming news. Tell me what you think about the lawsuit with the whole Sony PlayStation monopoly, as well as Microsoft's Xbox consoles. Maybe there's a chance that physical media might be alive on Xbox console. And also, what do you think about this law, the Data Protection Act law that's going on in Europe? And, the whole Sony account, if you don't, and all that stuff that's going on there in Europe. That's going to be it for this video. So this is Domingo Hero Network, the Ice Barrier. All I can say is take care, have a good day, goodbye everyone, and Domingo Hero Network, the Ice Barrier is signing out. Peace.